Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Abraham. I'm running for the House of Delegates, the 7th District. The 7th District includes all of Floyd County, most of Pulaski County except Fairlawn, and parts of Montgomery County, South Montgomery County. With me today is Barbara Connor and Senator John Edwards. I'd like them to introduce themselves.
My name is Barbara Connor. I'm also originally from Christiansburg, but for the last 12 years I've lived in Pulaski County. And my driveway goes underneath the I-81 bridge that crosses Peak Creek. And that bridge is a problem, has been for many years, and the bridge is unsafe, in my opinion, and poses a serious safety risk.
I'm John Edwards. I represent in the state senate Dallas County, part of Montgomery County, part of Roanoke County, and all of Roanoke City. I'm delighted to be here with Michael Abraham, who's going to be elected delegate from this area to the General Assembly of Virginia, and Barbara Connor, who is a native of this area. They're both natives of this area, and has firsthand experience about the structural problems that are big on 81.
We're standing today, the backdrop that we put together is the Interstate 81 bridges over the New River. We're just downstream of the Clater Lake Dam and upstream of Bradford. This bridge has been rated structurally deficient by VDOT. I don't mean to alarm anyone. Structural deficiency does not mean the bridge is ready to collapse, but it does mean that it begs out for attention. These bridges currently carry over 40,000 cars a day. And so if one of these bridges failed, not only would people die, because there's never an hour of night or day when there's not someone on it, but it would cripple our region economically. The functional detour, I'm told, is over 50 miles long that would take travelers all the way into West Virginia and back again if this bridge was ever taken out of service. John, turning back to you and talk please a little bit about the General Assembly and the ruling, not the ruling, but the new legislation to take care of bridges.
This year in the General Assembly we passed historic legislation to improve the roads and the bridges and the rail system of Virginia. It's an historic transportation package that the governor pushed. It was supported on a bipartisan basis in the General Assembly of Virginia. I'm delighted that Michael Abraham would have supported it, and if he's elected to the General Assembly, will continue to support improved transportation in Virginia. Unfortunately, not everybody did support the historic transportation package. That's something for this campaign and the citizens of this district to consider. The fact is we have needed important transportation improvements, about $1 billion of new money every year for the last 10 years. The Secretary of Transportation said if we hadn't passed this, that Virginia would run out of road building money, construction money, by 2016. This fortunately has saved Virginia from a serious transportation crisis, and I'm delighted that Michael Abraham has supported this. Let me tell you a little bit about the reason why 81 in particular needs help. 81 was designed when it was built and finished over 40 years ago. It was designed for about 15 to 17% truck traffic. There are today between 30 and 40% truck traffic on Interstate 81. 40,000 vehicles cross this bridge every single day. Right? Every single day is a statistic. You can do the arithmetic. And when you have that much truck traffic, interstate truck traffic, 30 to 40% during the daytime, and by the way, it's 58% at night, you can see the kind of stress the trucks are making on the interstate and bridges in particular. So it's critically important that we make sure these bridges and the interstate transportation on I-81 is protected. It's critically important to the economy of Western Virginia, and it's critically important to the public safety of the traveling public.
John, thank you. We also are all well aware of what happens when our interstate highway, when Interstate 81 is impacted. Just road construction alone between Salem and Christiansburg has been a major disruption, and I think all of us have at one point or another dealt with that. Barbara was going to talk a little bit specifically about her bridge.
Well, in recent years, I've expressed my concern individuals that I thought should know and perhaps could help. My county supervisor, VDOT officials, Delegate Rush, and I absolutely got no positive, satisfactory response. And I continued to pick up chunks of concrete that have fallen off that bridge onto my driveway, and I've got several pieces in the trunk of my car, if anybody would like to see it. And then just a few weeks ago, a lady was hurt from falling debris from that bridge. She was taken to the hospital, and there's probably going to be a lawsuit about that. I'm fearful for my friends and family to pass under that bridge, and I think about the tens of thousands of vehicles that go across it every day. It's a problem, and I hate that it's going to take a tragedy to get some kind of action when they know there are problems with that bridge.
I'm a graduate of Virginia Tech in mechanical engineering, and one of the things I remember vividly being taught is that gravity is one of the most reliable systems on the planet. It works 24/7, 365, and every engineered structure is susceptible to gravity, and unless properly maintained, all engineered structures will ultimately fail. In the last session of the General Assembly, my opponent voted against this transportation bill. Governor McDonald said, "For 27 years our citizens have sat in traffic as congestion has increased and our bridges and roadways have deteriorated. For 27 years our citizens and businesses have demanded solutions. For 27 years Democrats and Republicans in the General Assembly failed to reach an agreement on this critical issue. No other singular issue, ladies and gentlemen, no other singular issue has as great an impact on our ability to attract and retain economic development and opportunities and jobs." Now, apparently my opponent is not in favor of attracting economic development and jobs. It's either that, or I hate to be flippant, but he doesn't believe in gravity. I do. The bill is by no means perfect. The bill has something, as Senator Edwards says, something for everyone to hate, but it was a necessary thing, and the General Assembly came together in a bipartisan way to make a good thing happen. Bridges collapse, ladies and gentlemen. There's a section of the bridge on I-95 that collapsed in Connecticut a few decades ago. In just 2007, another bridge collapsed in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And just 3 months ago, a bridge collapsed in Washington State. Gravity works, ladies and gentlemen. Delegate Rush's vote, in my viewpoint, was irresponsible. It puts our citizens in grave danger. And we can see by the closures of Interstate 81 recently, serious impediments to economic development should we allow these things to continue. We can all imagine what economic development disruption would happen if one of these bridges behind us were to ever fail. Barbara?
Well, America's bridges have been neglected, and as a taxpayer, I don't appreciate being ignored by the people who are supposed to represent me. And I feel that Michael Abraham cares about the people and the issues surrounding the 7th District. I see him as a representative who will listen and who will help. And that's why I'm supporting Michael Abraham for the House of Delegates.
Thank you, John Edwards. Any questions from anyone? Mike, you had something?
Yeah, are there any, looking forward, rather than looking back at the vote on the last transportation package, looking forward to coming session and future sessions, what sort of investment, what sort of plans would you support for transportation?
John, you can help me with that, I'm sure. I don't know what, because I was not in the session last, I don't know what plans. Certainly parts of the bill that were controversial, I think would be need to be re-explored. For example, the alternative fuel tax, fuel surcharge. I don't know exactly how that's phrased. Yeah, for a hybrid vehicle.
the fee, $64 a year if you have a hybrid.
I'm very much opposed to that. It seems arbitrary and punitive. There are hybrid vehicles that get worse gas mileage than conventional. There are conventional that get better gas mileage than hybrid. So there's no sense in penalizing people for doing the right thing.
I might point out too that every year, as you know, VDOT has a 6-year plan. They revise the 6-year plan. And it's critically important to have delegates and senators to go to those meetings and to fight for improvements in transportation in their districts. So it does make a difference who is in the House of Delegates. It does make a difference who's in the state senate to fight for their district, to improve transportation in their district. And there are all sorts of roads and bridges and highways that need improving or built in districts. And Michael Abraham would be one of those delegates that would go to the VDOT meetings, the departments of the Commonwealth Transportation Board's hearings, and push for improvements in transportation in the 7th House District. I might point out too that one of the things that doesn't have to do with the bridge, but it does have to do with rails. There's $50 million per year in the transportation package for intercity passenger rail transportation. And that means Amtrak. That means there's no money to bring Amtrak to Roanoke in 2 to 3 years to hook up, connect to the train in Lynchburg, the Amtrak train. And the next step would be to bring Amtrak from Roanoke to Christiansburg and Bradford on down to Bristol. We need a delegate who's going to fight for Amtrak. And Michael Abraham will do that. That's why this election is so critically important, to have somebody who's pro-transportation, pro-economy, because 81 is so important to the economy of this area, and also pro-safety, because you want to make sure you have bridges that are not structurally deficient. You have bridges that people can count on. There's every minute of every day vehicles cross these bridges, roads, and all of it down 81. But every minute of every day you have vehicles of all sizes and trucks. And at night there's almost 60%, 58% of the traffic on the interstate at night is the interstate long-haul truck traffic. That's a lot of traffic every single day. Every single night, 60% at night, 30 to 40% during the daytime. Just look at all the traffic. When I came up from Roanoke this morning, I was amazed at how the truck traffic and the vehicular traffic on 81 has grown in the last couple of years. We're coming out of a recession, and I can tell we're coming out of a recession by looking at the congestion on I-81. And it's not going to get easier. It's going to get worse. And we're going to have to make sure 81 is safe, the bridges are safe, and we've got to move forward for more rail transportation as well to take the trucks off the highways, or at least relieve the interstate highway system of truck traffic with rail transportation.
I want to personally thank Senator Edwards for his tireless support of transportation in this region, and particularly rail transportation, passenger rail. There has been no greater advocate for passenger rail transportation in the General Assembly than John Edwards, and I thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Barbara, thank you for being here. She knows firsthand the problems.
Any other questions? All right, we'll take a little break. We'll talk to these folks, and we'll do the next segment. Good morning.